trying to kill us, that's for sure. Good evening, folks. This is Laren. I'm just playing around with some art programs and making some tokens for Fantasy Grounds. Just kind of seeing what I can put together. Making a character. Her name is Amari Dracomore. She's a granddaughter of a powerful wizard in the Zentarum faction, the Black Network. So she's kind of an evil sorceress or maybe a warlock of some sort. Haven't decided yet, but nonetheless, she's gonna have some kind of magical ability. I'm not sure what yet. So I'm going to probably make a couple different spellcasters to see if it gives me the right feel I'm looking for. It just depends on how it works out. But basically, I'm using Canva online right now, the program. I got the subscription to it and just kind of playing around with some assets that I found online. Most of these are copyright free except for this very background. It's I don't think I can steal that, but the rest of it I've done myself, putting together collage wise. This little map or logo here, this was Chris from Game Tile Warehouse made these, and then these assets came from Canva, or excuse me, from Pixabay. And then the effects were built into the program. So I've kind of got a hodgepodge of different art assets I'm kind of putting together like a collage. So just kind of playing around with the idea. I'm making a token right now that I'm going to put into Fantasy Grounds in case I need to use it. Always make, try to anyways, not always, but I try to make assets. So if I'm going to use these characters, or if I make them into NPCs, I already have the tokens for them and such. So usually when I do this, I'll go the extra mile and I'll put in the little bit of extra effort, and I'll actually make at least a portrait and a token so that when I use Fantasy Grounds, I can just throw in the tokens and not have to make them then and there. So it saves me a little time in the back end if I wanted to use these characters. So I'm going to use the character wizard, but I'm going to use a custom token to help illustrate the character. I think it's important to include some of these details when you're building characters in Fantasy Grounds, or any role-playing game for that matter. So I'm going to do that. It's just a matter of time and what you're into and type of effort that you want to put in. A little bit of extra effort does help with immersion if you're running games or if you're going to make a product or anything like that. Just little extra touches, really takes the program or the project that you're working on kind of over the top. So anyways, yeah, so I got a token that I want to use. So this is Amari. She's basically a some kind of mage spellcaster combination, probably like a spell. She could be a rogue too, like a arcane trickster, but I don't think so. I think she's more of a martial, maybe in a multi-class, but she has the ability to use that blade. So I'm thinking of making her a wizard, maybe a blade singer. Or maybe even a hex warlock. You'll have to see. So I want to switch over to Fantasy Grounds. So get out of this program. Okay, so here's the Fantasy Grounds table. I'm probably going to use the character wizard to kind of get things started. And then I've got some tokens that I'm making. I want to make sure that they're in program so I can put them in the Fantasy Grounds. So whenever you do that, you want to refresh your asset folder. So I'm going to pull up the asset folder. So it's over here on the far right next to library. If you want to know what theme I'm using, this is the Sir Mott's Magnificent Darkness theme. This is on the Fantasy Grounds Forge. I use this occasionally for themes and such. I'm going to go to my folder here. So I'm in the images part. So I'm going to use this as a token. So I want to click over to the tokens area. And then I have a custom folder that I work with. So I'm in the data folder, which is the top level of Fantasy Grounds. And then from there, I have a folder called custom, which is all my custom tokens that I've kind of threw together over the month. So I'm going to use that folder as where I'm going to actually put the token in case I want to use it in other campaigns. So I got to go on my hard drive and find out what I did with the new token I just made. It's one of my pet peeves. I have too many art assets. So I'm looking for them. Okay, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to open that up. Go to tokens. Okay, so I went ahead and pasted that into the folder on the back end of Fantasy Grounds. Now I'm going to click on the refresh button, and that will refresh the folder. Now it's going to go up to the top level and go to campaign because that's where I actually put it. And here's the token here. So this is a preview of the token that I just made for Amari. So Amari Dracomore, I was saying, is like the princess or some kind of mucky muck that's basically her grandfather was one of the high wizards for the Centaurum. So she's kind of followed in his footsteps. She's not a full-on wizard or mage, but she's definitely has some of his blood in her. So she's kind of a shoo-in. So she's kind of powerful. I'm probably going to make her like 5th level, and then we'll see how she turns out. But I'm going to go over to the far right and open up a new character. So I'm going to go to characters under the play window. And then I've already made a version of her the other day. And this one was for just for testing it out and stuff. So this is a 3rd level wizard. I believe I made this like just a straight warcaster. But I want to potentially make her a hexblade or some kind of build like that. So I'm going to try a different build. And this one I actually created more manually. So I'm going to use the character wizard this time. Character wizard, I think, works really well when you're just starting to build your character. But then after about 1st or 2nd level, you probably just do it manually. But I'm going to go ahead and just use the wizard. So I'm going to open that up, which is going to start off fresh. I think I'm going to roll some stats here. So I want to make sure that I have enough decent stats. I don't need super high-end stats. And the picture I was making earlier, it turned out pretty good. This is kind of what it looks like in Fantasy Grounds. I'm going to unlock it. I'm going to go ahead and hide the effects, at least the color adjustment. And I got a little bit of fog going across there, so I'm going to go ahead and disable that too. So this is the picture of Amari Dracomore. This is her kind of like a portrait or a handout that I would give. I have it as Evil Spellcaster, but over here it says NPC Amari Dracomore. So if you're going to play a character or an NPC that has a lot of features, you're almost better off making a character instead of an NPC. NPCs are really hard to create into characters if you want them to have all the stuff a character would, unless you're using, of course, some of the extensions that are out there. But in general, though, NPCs are pretty pared down compared to a real character. So if I was going to use this as a boss, I probably would make her a character and just run it that way. Someone that's really important, all her underlings, I'd probably just use NPC stat blocks. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and roll. I can use a standard array, but I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to do some dice rolling. So the first set I got was 15, 14, 15, 14, 13, 14. That's pretty fair. So she doesn't need a 15 strength. So I'm going to move that into her intelligence or wisdom. So this case, she's going to get it in intelligence. Con is 14, Dex is 15, Strength is 14. I'm going to put that 13 in her Strength. She doesn't need a lot of Strength. So I guess if you want to look at it that way, that might be your dump stat. I definitely want her to have a 15 in her Dex. This is a 14 Con, 15 Wisdom, 14 Charisma, 15 Intelligence. So that's pretty good. That's a really good start for a first level character. So this is kind of something I would play around with and see. So I'm going to go ahead and commit to that. It looks pretty good. Really good starting roll. I mean, that's my first roll. So if I have a feeling if I rolled again, I'd probably lose that. So that's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and give her a name as well. So Amari Dracomore. Okay. So the next step with the character wizard is to go ahead and let's do the race. So I'm going to make her a human variant. Now I have a bunch of content loaded, so I have like tons of books and source books loaded here. I also have a source here that is related to her background. It's the Secrets of Darkhold, which is a Zentarum supplement. There are some classes in here that I might actually run. So if that's the case, I'd probably want to do drag and drop. But there's a Cleric, a Rogue, and a Sorcerer. And the Sorcerer build in this is called a Beguiler. So they kind of charm people. So that's one option. There's a Rogue option, and this is called the Spell Thief. So I could make her one of those. And then, of course, there's a Cleric, and those are called Strife Domain for the type of casting. But I'm not going to do any of those, but that's one cool thing about this supplement is it does have those. There are some feats. Sky Mage, I might actually give her that. So basically, Sky Mages, they train relentlessly with a variety of flying mounts, emphasizing safety and respect for their beasts while mastering merciless aerial combat techniques. You gain the following benefits. So you have advantage on wisdom animal handling checks when you're dealing with creatures with a flying speed that are capable of serving as a mount. So that's pretty cool. So you can pretty much ride anything like that. So you learn Featherfall that you can cast once without expending a spell slot. You regain the ability to cast in this way when you finish a short or long rest, which is really cool. And you and your flying mount don't provoke an opportunity attack when you fly out of the enemy's reach. So that's a pretty powerful feat. So I might give her that. So I'll leave that out in case I want to check that. And then this also has some interesting information. There's some items like different swords and weapons. So I might use some of this stuff to detail the character. So this is from the DM's Guild. I think this is a Grim Press conversion. So it should be pretty quality. There's a reference manual here. Gives you an overview of the Zentarum and their current state, and also some history, and it's got some lore in here. Then you have this rogues gallery. It kind of talks about the leaders and some of the NPCs that are in charge of this place. So it's just really, really nice. But her father was Kurth Dracomore, so he was one of the mages. I think he was a little bit before this time, but it's kind of a cool little thing for backstory. There's a lich. It's like Denizens of Darkhold. So this is the some of the lore for Darkhold. I think that's where she's going to work out of is Darkhold. What's this NPC? Foulwing. Okay, so it's a huge aberration of a creature. It's a chosen mount of the Zentarum Sky Mages, so I might use that as my my mount there. That's cool. All right, so that is basically some of the content that I've loaded. And I was going to do either custom lineage, which is Tasha's cauldron or everything, or I was going to do a human variant, which I think I'll do that. So human variant it is. So once I choose that, I get a couple choices here. So I want to definitely add to her intelligence. And then I get to pick one other skill to increase. So maybe her dex or maybe charisma. Yeah, I might do her con, actually. That will give her more strength. And yeah, I think that charisma would be good, because she's got to be kind of convincing. And then she gets a language. So she has common right now. So I might give her draconic, just in case she has like a dragon mount or something like that. And then her proficiency, in this case, for her racial ability, I'm going to give her, let's see, what do I want to do? For her race, let's see, sleight of hand, stealth maybe, insight, athletics. You know what? I think I'm going to give her animal handling. So her people are good at handling animals. So she's been probably riding horses and all kinds of stuff for all of her life. So might be why she was chosen to be a sky mage. Okay, so that's one of her aspects there. And now I'm going to pick class. So if I come over to class, this is where I need to make the decision. So I'm going to do I want to say let's go with the wizard, but make her a blade singer or something like that. So there's the class. And now I get 2 class skills. So previously, when you did drag and drop method for character creation, you had to kind of be careful which skills you chose. So I already have animal handling, so I know not to choose that. I'm going to pick Arcana and probably History. All right, so there's her skills. And it looks like I get to pick a background. So she's going to be a Zentarum, so I'm just going to go with the Zentarum agent. That's pretty standard. And she gets 1 skill proficiency. So I want to maybe go into investigation or insight or something like that. Let's see. So she already has these. She already has insight. So insight, arcana, history, animal handling, and perception's probably good. And then for a language, I get 2 extra languages. So I want to go with goblin and giant. Because I know that they work with the Zentarum often hire those. So she might have a little platoon or something that she's in command of. So it kind of depends on how you think about the character. These are the little choices that you make to help with your background. I did a little research on the Zentarum and their different ranks and what they do and such. So one of them is they're mercenaries, but they'll hire out and train NPC humanoids to do their bidding as well. So she may have a small platoon or small group of underlings that she's in charge of. And then for feats, we're going to pick a feat. So she's a human variant. And I think I'm going to do that Sky Mage thing. That looked really interesting. So I'm going to go with Sky Mage. Racial feat. There we go. So once you're done with the basics there, I'm going to go to inventory. Because if you skip this, then you're going to have to manually go back and do it. And I'm going to give her the Explorer's Pack. For now, I'll give her the dagger. And then for component, I'm going to give her a crystal for her spellcasting focus. So those are some of the initial things you can do for equipment. It's real basic stuff. And then for spells, Being that she's first level, she's going to get a couple spells. So some cantrips. So it looks like 3 cantrips. So there's Booming Blade. I want Blade Ward. That's one of them. So I'm going to click this little green arrow. That sends that down to the selected. I go with Firebolt. And then I need a utility one. So probably Mage Hand or Prestidigitation. I think Mage Hand would be more useful for her. Yeah, Mage Hand, definitely that. So, oh, there's Manchoon's Mage Hand. Let's use that. So it's a variation of that spell. That Manchoon is one of the higher uppers in Zentarum Network. So maybe she studied under a wizard that had trained under Manchoon. Okay, so that is her cantrips. Now I'm going to give her a couple level 1 spells. So let's go with Featherfall. Even though I get that as a free spell, definitely want to put it in my library. Let's see, comprehend languages. Actually, I don't want that. Oh, no, actually I'll keep it. Because she gets it anyway, so it won't count against her total. So I want Grease. Let's see what else we got. Magic Missile. Let's see, it's 3 of 6, so she can have 7 in total. Mage Armor. There's a Skywrite spell. I forgot what that does. I don't think it's this level though. Witch Bolt. So Witch Bolt is kind of like a Magic Missile. So maybe I'll just skip that. Unseen Servant, Thunder Wave. There's a Sleep spell. There's Shield. Yep, definitely give her Shield. Let's see. Expeditious Retreat. Fog Cloud. That'd be good. And one other. Let's go with Find Familiar, Ice Knife, Identify, Jump, Text from Good, Silent Image, Sleep. Go with Sleep. Alright, so her spell book is full, plus her bonus spell. If she was going to be that one wizard, I would have given her that. So, we'll leave that there because she gets that from her feat. So we'll leave that there. All right, so there's her spells, and now for her inventory, we already took care of that. Now go ahead and hit commit. So once you hit commit, you are committed to that build. So I'm going to take a look at the character sheet. I'm going to assign her the portrait now. Let's see, here's it is. So this is her portrait. And looks good, so I got that. And let me take a look at her sheet. So here are her skills, which is good. Sky Mage feat. Yeah, so she gets to fly in a flying mount. She learns Featherfall and can cast it once without expending a spell slot, so that'll be one of her traits. And then she has advantage on animal handling, which is one of her skills. So very cool. And let's see what else. I should probably just put that into her skill so I don't have to keep hitting advantage. I'll probably just make a basically like a coding effect for that. And then abilities are here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So that's that. When I go to second level, I get to pick her specialization. So if you're going to level up at this point, just make sure the basics are covered, and then we're going to go ahead and level up to level 2. So again, I'm going to go to the front of the character sheet, click on the magnifying glass next to proficiency, and this is where you level up. There's a level up button here, which will take you back to the wizard. And now you can increase the level. So now I have to choose. This is where I'm going to choose Blade Singing. This is her feature. And then I'm going to also pick in the, let's see, what do we got there? Got Blade Singing, Training in War and Song. And then later she gets her Blade Song. So yeah, so that's that. She already has a feat, so we don't need to worry about that. And go ahead and click on Spells. I'm going to choose a couple second level spells when she gets to that point. So I'm not going to pick any spells yet, but I could choose a couple more first level, but she only gets so many. So I'll save that for my next level. So go ahead and hit commit. That puts her up to level 2. Now I'm going to open up the character wizard again through the class and level area. Click level 3. And now I'm going to pick whatever it is I want to choose. So for level 3, Blade Singing. Yep, so on her spells, she'll get a couple extra spells for level 2. So I want to go ahead and choose a couple second level. Okay, so want to get, let's see, Levitate. That'll be handy. She's flying around. And let's go with maybe Web or Skywrite. I wanted to look at that. So this allows her to form 10 words in a part of the sky you can see. The words appear to be made of clouds and remain in place. So I'm going to give her that. This would be helpful for her when she's flying around. She needs to send a message. So that's going to be her, one of her spells there. So we'll go ahead and commit to that. There are no feats again. This is level 3. And go ahead and click commit. And now she's at 3rd level. So I'm going to bring her up to 5th level. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the character wizard. Level up. You get an ability score increase at level 4. So we'll head. I can pick an ability score increase or a feat. I already have a feat. I think ability score increase would be better. So go ahead and choose that. And then, let's see, go ahead and commit. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and adjust these. So I'm going to give her 1 on Dex. And going to give her, let's see, 1 more on Intelligence. So she's already pretty badass, isn't it? And now the next level for level 5. I go ahead and hit the up arrow. Go to spells. Get to pick a couple more spells here. So level 3. Let's see. I want to give her Fireball, Dispel Magic, and Fly. So this way, she doesn't get all, jacked up if she's flying around. So that's that. And then she doesn't get any feats. So that'll clear itself. And go ahead and hit commit. Okay, so that's the basic build. For her, she's level 5, Zentarum Agent, Human Variant. It's got a 13 Strength, 16 Dex, 14 Con, 17 Intelligence, 14 Wisdom, 15 Charisma. She's pretty tough. Her skills are ready. Got to make sure I don't need to add more, so I'll check that shortly. Okay, so she's not going to get any of these additional wizard spells from Tasha's, so I'm just going to delete that off the sheet. She will get Arcane Recovery. Blade Singing will be something she'll get. She'll have a unique Blade Song. She has a cantrip, Formulate options. I don't think she's going to be using that. She gets Spell Casting, Training in War and Song. So when you have this at 2nd level, you gain proficiency with light armor, and you gain proficiency with one type of one-handed melee weapon of your choice. So probably a longsword, and she can use it as one-handed. And she also gains proficiency in a performance skill if you don't already have it. So let's take a look at that. So her skills, let's see, performance. So she's proficient with that. And now she also gets to add a longsword and the light armor to her abilities. So I want to notate that here. So I'm going to create a new line, put light armor. And longsword. So now she's proficient with that. So what I might give her is like studded leather or something like that. So in inventory, she has a dagger, which I will increase to 2. And then she has, let's see, it's just a spell book, tinderbox, so some basic equipment. So I'm going to go to the items over here in the campaign area. So she's going to have a longsword. And then I'm going to give her a, let's see, maybe a hand crossbow or something like that. So she has longsword and she has, let's see, 2 daggers. Needs something with a little bit more range. Of course, she's not going to be flying around, so she probably won't need that many range things. She has spells, so we'll just leave it at that. And then the studded leather. All right, so studded leather. And then I'm going to give her a cloak. Some riding boots. And I think that's good enough. So she's got quite... Oh, I might give her a potion. Potion of healing. What do you know? She's got 1 potion, her spell book. She's got all her gear now. And now for the studded leather is equipped. I'm going to take a look at her armor class. So without anything else, she's got a 15 AC, which isn't bad, because that's her dex bonus plus her studded leather. So the studded leather gives her +2, and then she gets +3 from her dex. So that's not bad for a mage without any armor. And then she can cast mage armor and shield, so she'd be okay there. Now on top of that, she's going to be riding on top of a dragon half the time or something like that. So not going to worry too much. If I need to, we can get her a ring of protection or something down the road. But for right now, I think she's good. And let's see. Yeah, I might give her that ring, actually, just to get it over with. She's 5th level, so she's entitled to at least 1 cool magic item. I mean, a potion of healing is nothing. That's just arbitrary. So go to items. Actually, I'll wait on that because she doesn't really need to have that. Okay, so there's the main thing there. So I'm going to organize her equipment. So you have a backpack. Right now it just says backpack. So anything I want to store in the backpack, I'm going to type the word backpack on the location line on the right-hand side. And I'm just going to start with a capital B, and that will actually put everything in place. So everything that's going to be stored in the backpack is going to go into that container. I also have a pouch, so she has a crystal. So that'll be in the pouch. The potion of healing in the pouch. She's going to have that at the ready. And put her spell book in her backpack. Just about everything except for her weapons and her clothing. She has an emblem for her faction. All right, so once you have everything organized, it'll reshuffle itself. So she has boots, cloak, she has studded leather, she has a long sword, a couple daggers, and then her gear in her backpack. She has a crystal and an emblem and a potion of healing in her pouch. And then that's pretty much it. So yeah, she's not too shabby for a wizard. Let's take a look at her spells. Here's the actions tab. Yeah, so she has Blade Ward. So these are her cantrips. They're based on intelligence, so I always check that, make sure it's right. Yep, so that's that. And she does have her free spell here, which was the Feather Fall. These are her second and third level spells, so it's pretty good to go there. If you wanted to, I can load up the Rob 2e coding effects, make this a little bit more simple for me. So if I go to the modules, if you have these, you can put those in for yourself if you want. So if I go to modules, I don't have any of those loaded right now, but if I go to the activation window, I'm going to get the Ring of Protection and all that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the class features. So the Rob 2e, here's the background on class equipment. I can load that too, because I'm going to use her background equipment. Here's the class features. Just in case, here's the coding for the spells. And then I want to get the potions. Yep. And then the adventuring gear. And do I need anything else? Oh, feats. Actually, I don't need a feat because that one's a unique one. So there we go. So that's the modules. So these are now loaded in the library. I can just drag and drop these on the character sheet. Make it just easier just to do it. And I can code some of these myself, but I'm cheating. So let's see. So I want to make sure I have two daggers for ammo. Here's the long sword. There's the stabby stab thing for the blades. Okay, so now what I want to do is create a new group. So at the very bottom, I'm clicking on Add Power. And then I'm going to call this my class features. So this is just a new group that I can drag the features in. If I come over here to spells, that's where all these Rob 2e coding effects are stored. If I come down here to, let's go to the class features, and we can go to wizard first. All right, so wizard, let's go with that's the class features. So I wanted to go with Arcane Recovery. And then there was a Blade Song, I believe. That might have to search for that. Yeah, Wizard Blade Song. So that'll go in there. And then I was given a free spell, so I will add that to this. So the free spell is still going to be based off of intelligence. So for the class features, just in case, I'm setting that to intelligence. And then I want to take the spell from the class features or the coding effects for spells. And I'm going to grab, let's see, Blade Barrier. Let's see. So here's Featherfall. So I'm going to drag that to the class features. So I'm going to keep it separate from the spells area, and then I'm going to set it up in the down here in preparation mode. I'm going to set it up to once, and then rest, because you get this on a short rest with that feat. So this is actually part of my feats, but it goes in with my class, so that's pretty cool. And I think that's close to about it there for that section. And then I can replace all these spells with the Rob 2e coding effects if I want. So let's do that. So I'm going to go to class features. Let's go to spells. Actually, I wanted to do the gear. Yeah, so protection. Yep. So we'll get that, and then I can do potion and all that stuff. So that's cool. So anyways, that's how you do that. You just add the things if you need to. Most of these spells probably don't need the coding on them, but I can go back and replace them if I want, just so I have a little bit more complete. And then you also have the range and the other notes in there, which is really handy. And so that's pretty much about it. I mean, this is a pretty thorough character. I mean, you got a custom token or a portrait. So I made some artwork for it. I've got a supplement in the library. This is the Darkhold Secrets of Zentarum. And then I've used a little bit of that content there. I think I stole a spell out of there. Mansoon's Mage Hand. I don't know how it's any different, but it looks like probably looks different, and it actually does some damage. So it can do psychic damage when it hits, and it can choke someone. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome. It's got that Darth Vader thing going on. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so I think I'm going to call it. I don't want to babble too much longer, but if anyone watches this in the future, I'm using some of the Rob 2e coding effects. I'm using the Sir Mott's Magnificent Darkness theme. And then for the artwork and such, I was using Canva, which I showed earlier. So I'll show that again real quick. So when you're trying to find something, if you want to customize your characters and such, I recommend Canva. It does a pretty good job. Once you get used to using it, it's very utility. It seems to be doing a lot of good. So I'm making social media things with it, and I was able to make this background and really cool stuff. So anyways, this is Amari Dracomore. She's a 5th level blade singer, or blade song, and she is pretty tough. So I don't know if I'd want to meet up with her. She seems pretty like a badass. So anyhow, take care, everyone. And I'll leave some of the item descriptions and some of the content I used. I also use the Roll Advantage token stamp to make tokens, because I do have a token for her that I can use. So just take your time and build characters with a little bit more detail and give it that extra touch. It really goes a long ways